Sylvia, Danu.
Yes, sir. Good morning.
Good afternoon,
Good afternoon.
actually.
Sorry.
Welcome, please.
Thank you, sir.
Have
Thank
a
you.
seat. Have a seat.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Have a seat. You do have a pen and a notebook there for you to use. My name is Nelson Makanda, and I'm the chair of this selection panel. Allow me to thank you for taking interest in the position we advertised for member of the IEBC, and to congratulate you for being shortlisted for the same. And for that reason, you're here. And I note that you have interested parties who are watching, and some refuse to watch from home. So they are inside here. So we appreciate their presence. Madam Linda, do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure, Chairman. Thank you so much. Good afternoon, Madam.
Good afternoon to you too.
My name is 𝐒𝐥𝐲𝐚. I serve this panel as the Vice Chair. I want to take this opportunity to welcome you for your interview session. Karibu sana.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
And I want to ask members, the teachers down there are signing and translating for the children to be able to follow the proceedings. So you can use Kenyan accent, members of the panel.
Yeah, asante mwenyekiti. Madam Sylvia, habari ya dhuhuri.
Salama sana, nashukuru.
Okay, mi naitwa Bwana Andrew Tanui, mwanachama wa jopo hili la uteuzi, na karibu.
Asante sana.
Miss Mutwa, good afternoon.
Good afternoon to you too.
Caroline Kituku, karibu.
Asante sana.
Good afternoon, Sylvia.
Good afternoon, Prof.
My name is Adam Solo, a member of this selection panel.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Sylvia.
Good afternoon, sir.
Mimi naitwa Nicodemus Bore na karibu sana.
Asante sana.
Good afternoon, Dr. Ndanu.
Good afternoon.
Have I pronounced it properly?
It's Ndanu.
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 Okay.
It means the joyful one.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah.
My name is Fatuma Alice. I'm a member of the panel. Please feel welcome.
Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, Dr. Ndanu Mutua.
Good afternoon, Ambassador.
And karibu sana. My name is 𝐒𝐥𝐲𝐶𝐚 and I'm a member of the panel.
Asante sana.
Good afternoon, Sylvia.
Good afternoon, sir.
My name is Evans Misati. I'm a member of the selection panel and we welcome you to this.
Asante sana. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Ndanu. We are glad to have you. We want you to introduce yourself. Take time, 5 minutes or so. Tell us who you are, your profile, and why you think we should consider you one of the best candidates for this position that you have applied for. Let us know if you have any membership, professional, and if you have any award or honor given to you through the course of life. Welcome.
Asante sana, Bwana Chairperson, and also your esteemed team. I really want to, first of all, appreciate for shortlisting me and inviting me for this interview. I don't take it for granted, and I really, really want to say asante sana, and I'm humbled, and I feel honored to be here to be able to articulate myself in regard to the role that is in front of us. My name is Sylvia Ndanu Mutua. I am a governance and strategic communication expert with over 15 years of experience that spans from academia, media, and public administration. I am where strategy meets integrity, blending in governance, communication, and compliance to deliver impact. I hold a PhD in communication studies, where I looked at online content regulation and digital inclusivity. And these are areas that align very closely with IEBC's evolving digital responsibilities. Currently, I serve at the Technical University of Mombasa as the Director of Quality Assurance, on top of being a lecturer, where I've been able to lead international standards organization, that is the ISO audits at the university. I've been able to also ensure regulatory alignment, both for the institution and also for all the programs that we have at the university, and also spearhead risk management initiatives. My work at the university has strengthened institutional transparency. It's also strengthened performance and also accountability of the institution as well. Prior to getting in the university, I worked in the media industry, where I was able to lead civic education campaigns and also other media programs, and also cover elections as well. That practical hands-on experience gave me experience in how to manage public engagement, and at the same...
Just hold on a bit.
Yes, sir.
Maybe some of the pupils can come and stand here because they will be able to see their teacher signing. Yes, so that they can come. The ones that are this way, come and stand here. Yeah, yeah, the ones that are behind, come and sit, stand somewhere here. Good. Good, and then she can stand at a vantage point to be able to sign. Okay, thank you. Excellent. Yeah, they were trying to crowd the camera there. So Ndanu, you have a rare privilege to have an audience of pupils from Kambui Technical School as you're being interviewed. We wish you the best. Please proceed.
Thank you, sir. Asante sana. Yes, I was talking about my media experience, where you're saying that prior to joining the university, I worked in the media industry, where I was able to lead civic education campaigns and also get election coverage as well. And that gave me practical hands-on experience when it comes to public engagement and also building trust in democratic systems. I've also published, of course, not extensively as a prof here, but I have a few publications in peer-reviewed journals that look at aspects of media, communication, and also digital governance. So that would really speak to my ability to convert academic insights into institutional reforms as well. While I'm able to understand how organizations, institutions work, I'm also able to translate policy into action. And I've also been able to understand by my experience in the media, how to be able to earn public trust and also protect it as well. While I'm not a lawyer by profession, but I've deeply worked with legal and regulatory frameworks at the university in making sure that we enhance compliance in high-stakes environment. I've been able to lead change in the areas and the spheres where I've been. I've been able to ensure compliance as well, and I've been also able to lead performance in institutions. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. I want to invite Linda to ask you some questions. Linda, please.
Thank you, Chairman. Now, Daktari, I admire your experience and your academic expertise that you have displayed to us here this afternoon. You're a beacon of, and a model to young girls, and I wish you the very best. So, in your experience and then career journey, what experiences have you gathered that will be impactful in your execution of your mandate as a commissioner in the event that you're taken up as one?
Thank you very much. If I'm taken up as a commissioner, I would bring a unique blend of strategic leadership, regulatory compliance, and communication expertise. Having been the Director of Quality Assurance at the institution in the university, I've been able to lead performance reforms. I've also been able to implement the ISO audits and also risk-based audits. I've also been able to ensure compliance of all our programs to CUE requirements, and also making sure that the institution itself is also complying to the Commission of University Education requirements. So I would say my strength lies, based on my experiences, it lies in turning complex regulatory frameworks into streamlined, accountable systems, and systems sometimes build trust as well. Looking at my experience when it comes to electoral communication as well, we have been able to lead the civic education programs. I've also been able to manage content where it's election coverage content as well in the media industry, and also coming up with public-facing mechanisms to empower the voter. I would say I don't just understand voter education, but I've been able to implement it, I've been able to measure it, and I've also been able to see its impact firsthand. Again, if you look at my publications from 2021 coming on aspects of content regulation, and also looking at it from online safety aspects as well, you realize that my expertise in that particular area aligns very keenly with the responsibilities of IEBC, especially when it comes to securing the secure use of technology, and also it comes to building public trust in online platforms. So in an age of disinformation, I'll be able to offer clarity. In a place of mistrust, I can be able to offer credibility, and that's what I bring to the IEBC. Over and above, I would say that I'm having high levels of integrity, of course, by virtue of my work experience and even myself as a person. Yes.
Any other interpersonal skills now that you've invited me to ask that?
Oh, yes. I would look at it as both interpersonal skills and teamwork skills. You realize for you to be able to implement an institutional audit, you'd have to work with a team of auditors, and you'd also have to ensure that the auditee is able to understand the process and work with you throughout the entire process. Again, one aspect we always push, we say that when it comes to communication, both interpersonal and even public communication, it's not what you say, it's what the other person hears. So communication is not so much what you'll say from this particular side, but being able to make sure that what the other person is hearing is able to be translated into results.
So finally, team player or team leader? Or both?
I would consider myself as both, because I've served in committees at the university where I have been a member of a team, and I've also been in other committees like the sub-editorial committee where I'm the chairperson and I'm the leader. So I would say I'm able to function both as a team player and also as a team leader.
Thank you so much. Daktari, I wish you the very best. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you.
Thank you. I want to ask Councillor Carol Kituku to ask you some questions. Councillor, please.
Thank you, Chairman. Daktari, let's go to your area of expertise. As you have spoken about it, communication, public awareness, and it's the mandate of the IBC to carry out voters' education. Should you become successful, what or how would you steer forward IBC in regard to the realization of its mandate on voter education and public awareness?
Thank you, madam. If I get you right, the question is the what and how I would be able to steer IBC in matters voter education.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much. Voter education is something that is paramount. It's part of the core mandates of the IEBC. For us to be able and to realize that voter education, looking at it from the academia point, would become what I would call the independent variable, where all other dependent variables would fall on it. That being said, how we execute it becomes very important. First of all, I would recommend, after mapping out, because you'd have to map out the key stakeholders who would be involved in voter education, and there are various stakeholders. After we map out the stakeholders, then we go a step further and figure out what are their needs and how do we communicate voter education to those particular segments of the population in making sure that they understand it. I'll start with the example that we have in this room. We have school-going children in this room. And right now they're listening to us and they're able to understand aspects of how the IEBC works, especially when it comes to recruitment. We have music festivals that are happening in the next term. The music festivals go all the way from primary all the way to the universities. We've seen organizations sponsor pieces which are able to push for their brand and push for communication that advances the mandate of those organizations. They've even gone a step further and give trophies to those who select good pieces based on that. That's one way we can be able to inculcate voter education, not just a few months as we're waiting or a few years as we wait for the elections, but from its infancy, through that. We can also have, I'm looking at clubs, election clubs, okay? We have in the universities and even in schools, we have agriculture, we have the SK clubs, we have the Scouts clubs. So we can also integrate in it, we have election clubs where we are able to continuously sensitize the young generation on voter education. And you realize those people, by the time they're clearing school, is as they push, because everyone, when they finish school, they're rushing to get an ID. So as they rush to get an ID, they're also rushing, and they already understand the importance of why it's good for you to have what? To have a voter's card and the benefit you get from that voter's card and the rights that that voter's card gives you. Okay, that's one way I would look at it. And that's now the segment based on the people in this room who are observing this process. Stepping up, looking at other segments of the population. With the young people, we have social media channels, all right? Imagine if we had a TikTok account where we could be able to have information about voting, the importance of voter education put in that particular platform. And people could be able, because TikTok has a live session, and we could have live sessions where we have members of the secretariat even answering questions when people are asking, how is this supposed to be done? Why should I do this? Why is it important for me to do this? All right. Those aspects would really be able to integrate. So my strategy would be, yes, let's map out who are our key stakeholders and then figure out the channels of communication that we can be able to use to pass that particular message. Again, I would not wait for 2-3 years down the election, but I'd look at voter education as a continuous process that happens all the time. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I wish you well, and thank you, Chairman.
Thank you. I want to ask Dr. 𝐲𝐞𝐚𝐫 to also ask a question, please. Ambassador.
Thank you very much, Chair. Dr. Ndan Mutua.
Yes.
I would like to stay with the same subject area, but within the electoral cycle. And just to what you told us that your intentions to enhance trust and confidence in the IEBC, we know that is an area that has a lot of gaps. And therefore, I would like to ask you to tell the panel and also those who are watching you, what strategies you can put in place to enhance transparency and accountability in the electoral process? To enhance transparency and accountability in the electoral process using the entire electoral cycle.
Thank you very much.
Just mention the strategies. You can just list them.
Okay, thank you. So how we can enhance transparency and accountability in the electoral cycle, looking at the 3 phases where we have the pre, the election cycle, and the post-election cycle. Thank you very much. Looking at the pre-election cycle, we can enhance transparency by several strategies. And the first strategy, I would look at how we communicate. There are activities that are done in the pre-election cycle. How do we communicate those activities that the Commission is doing to the voter, so to speak? All right. How does the voter how do we communicate to the voter that they need to get that voter's registration? How do we communicate to them on how to check to verify their details when it comes to that? So I would look at it, one, being transparent in how we communicate to the voter, who is one of the stakeholders, and also all the other stakeholders. There's also the issue of stakeholder engagement as we plan for the elections. How do we engage all the other key players, the state actors and the non-state actors? How do we make sure that we engage them, the continuous engagement we have with them in making sure that they understand where we are coming from and where we are going?
Keep telling us how. Instead of asking us, how do we communicate? How do we tell us how?
Okay.
As you engage, yes.
Okay. So we'd make sure that we have regular meetings with all the key stakeholders. I would also ensure that we have a feedback loop. When you tell someone something, the fact that they're able to respond back, the feedback loop becomes very important. That feedback is able to enable us to either improve our processes in one way or another, or even understand concerns that may be on the ground, which we may not have been aware of, or even to complement us where we are doing things right. So I would look at communicating in various channels or using various media to be able to pass across, not just on the dates, but also on what our key mandate is at that particular time. I would also look at proper planning, being able to account for the proper planning and the timelines so that everyone is aware and all of us are on the same page when it comes to issues of elections. That is before, in the pre-stage. During the elections, I would look at it in terms of ensuring all our activities are transparent. From when someone gets in that polling station up to the time when they're doing the counting and the tallying, and it's all very transparent for everyone to be able to see what is happening on that particular day. Okay. That is now on the public side. On the other hand, there's also the element of after the elections have been done in the post-election phase, there's always a report that is done, an evaluation report that is being done, making sure that we get all the views of all the stakeholders, and then we are also able to hear what the observer said, what the public says, and every other person, and also being able to disseminate the same so that people can be able to see. From the other back end, and the back end, I would say now it's from the commission side, I would look at, do we have regular reporting? You know, how the Secretariat reports, the reporting mechanisms on the progress of the activities. We realize we need to have the planning put in place, but then how do they report in terms of what has been achieved, what has not been achieved, and also how do we able to mitigate risks that may be inherent? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Mutua, and all the best. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. I want to ask FCPA, Tanui, to also ask some questions, please, FCPA. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Dr. Ndanu.
Yes, sir.
You've told us you are the Director Quality Assurance at TUM.
Yes.
Now, can ISO apply to IEBC? And what would be your advice? ISO certification, can it apply to IEBC? And what would be your advice as a commissioner to IEBC?
FCPA, you want to break down ISO certification so that
she will explain.
The translation.
She knows it.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, she will explain to us. Yes, Madam.
Asking for the translator, the sign for the children.
So ISO certification.
Yes.
International
Standard Organization.
Yes.
Yes, thank you.
Yes, thank you. Daktari.
Thank you very much. If I'm getting you right, you're asking how to apply ISO, and my advisement.
First of all, can it apply to IEBC?
Yes.
And if so, how, given an opportunity as a commission, will you implement it? Thank you.
Thank you very much. First of all, I'm happy to report the IEBC is ISO certified. That is 27001/2022 certification. And that is the certification on information security management system certification. If you look at your website, you realize that certification, we're due for certification in 2026 as a commission. All right. We were certified in 2023. That being said, it implies that the IEBC is already ISO compliant when it comes to the credibility, when it comes to the integrity, and when it comes to who can access the data that IEBC has. IEBC as a commission is both a data controller and also a data processor. This is by virtue of the data that it collects from the electorate in terms of the biometric details, the names of the people, and also the biometric details that we collect during voter registration. So the integrity of that particular system is very, very important in ensuring that, one, we give confidence to the voter that the data they have given to us is secure at any one time. And the data is going to be used solely for the electoral processes. All right? So is it being implemented? Yes. Is it important for IEBC? Yes, it is very important. You realize that in ISO certification, at minimum, you do 2 audits in a year. You can audit depending on the approach IEBC might have taken. It could have taken the assets approach, where you're looking at information assets, or it could have taken the process approach. That I'm not familiar with which approach they've taken. But if we look at it from the assets approach, then it means that they have to ensure at any one time, and the assets are not just the hardware and software. You realize even the information, the materials you're having, the documents also form as assets as well, because there is information in those documentation, especially the filled forms. So the issue would be to ensure that at any one time, our documentation is accurate, that the integrity of the information in any document in IEBC is secure, okay, in being used for the purpose that is supposed to be used.
Thank you. And you did mention post-election cycle, and in the post-election evaluation report for 2022, voter turnout was rated at 64.77%. And it is attributed in that report to distrust in IEBC. Given an opportunity as a commissioner, what governance interventions would you put in place to rebuild public confidence ahead of the next election?
How to rebuild public confidence ahead of 2027?
Yes.
Thank you very much. One way in which we are already rebuilding public trust in IEBC is through this process we are doing. The transparency of the interviews are already making the voter in Kenya confident that the persons who are going to be commissioners have gone through thorough vetting, because they are able to see this from where they are watching from. The live broadcast is one way of ensuring that. And that transparency is very well there. You realize that as much as the IEBC is an independent commission, okay, but it also has reporting mechanisms where it's able to report on its finances, as well as ways of being accountable. Because one thing is, in a place where we are not accountable, especially when you're using public funds, then definitely the mistrust is going to, accelerate among the public. So being able, the accounting mechanisms we have at IEBC, where our reports go to the OAG, and whereby we also take the annual reports out to Parliament, and that builds a bit in terms of how accountable is this particular institution moving forward, right? Another way of building that trust, like I said, is communicating. How do we communicate? If you look at the same report, you realize that it mentioned the IEBC as having a conservative and limited communication policy. All right, and because communication was not able to, they were not able to communicate efficiently or as expected. Because there's anytime you're dealing with stakeholders, you realize that the stakeholders also have their own expectations. Okay, so how the commission is able to meet those expectations of the stakeholders in compliance with the law, and also ensuring that we follow the constitution, but how we are able to communicate the same to them becomes very, very important. Another way I would build as part of ensuring transparency is have people monitor the social media platforms. you realize in our social media platforms, there are so many themes that come up every single day, because every person can be a content creator, every person can be a content disseminator. So having a team that monitors what is being shared on social media, what are the major themes, what are the narratives, and where are these coming from, that would enable us to not just be reactive, but to be able to correct fake news that would come in relation to IBC as a commission, and to be able to even give accurate and clarify issues that may be raised on those platforms as well.
Thank you, Ndanu, and wish you well.
Thank you, sir.
Chair.
Thank you. We now ask Evans Misati to ask some questions. Evans, please.
Thanks so much, Chair. Sylvia, I want to ask you a question related to the role of IPC. Article 88 4G gives the role of IPC as photo education as one of the roles that IPC has to do. But more often than not, you hear people talking about photo education and civic education as very important. Please tell the panel, the public and the people watching, the distinct difference between civic education and photo education.
Thank you very much. The distinction between voter education and civic education. In my understanding, voter education would include information to the voter on what are their rights when it comes to voting, who is eligible to be a voter, what is the process of voting, and why is it important as well. But when you're looking at civic education, it could go a step further, and looking also at national values, looking at aspects of patriotism of the country. Yes, looking at aspects of also patriotism in the country. Yes.
That's good. So given an opportunity and you are an IPC commissioner, how would you enhance civic education to ensure that Kenyans are aware about misinformation and disinformation? Given that you have, in your introduction, you mentioned that online content creation is one of the things that you did. And being aware that content creation, the online one, that's where we find a lot of problems, because some of the Gen Zs are doing content creation just for purposes of creating income.
So if I'm getting you right, how do we do civic education in a space which is riddled with misinformation and disinformation?
Yes, to ensure that it's only the right information that goes out to the public. And when there's misinformation, how would you handle it?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you very much. The social media platforms are very unique. There are several across, but they're very unique in terms of their architecture. You find that, for example, the platforms which will only accept 160 words, the platforms which will take both audiovisual content to limited time and that. But as a commission, one way would ensure civic education is have a channel for the commission, whereby if anyone wants to find any information on anything, on any aspect of the commission, they know. If there's a particular Facebook page, there's that. If it's a TikTok page, if it's an Instagram page, if it's even a YouTube channel. And that's one thing I was wondering, why we don't have a YouTube channel just for the commission, so that anyone sourcing for information, because one thing you realize with social media platforms, there's an aspect of retweeting, there's an aspect of resharing that particular information. So someone just picks it from your page and shares it as well. So when we don't have I continue? Okay. So you realize when we don't own the information on our page and it's coming from different sources, then it can be prone to misinformation. And misinformation could be just out of ignorance. But then you also have others who could be malicious. And that is where disinformation would come in. That is where malinformation would come in. All right. So my strategy would be, let's have dedicated channels for the commission where we are able to post credible information about all our activities and also all issues of civic education issues of civic education. Okay, but then we'd also have another unit. I would call it the social media monitoring unit. Now, this particular unit, their work would be just to monitor the social media platforms across board and be able to see what information, like if today, what is trending about IEBC. Okay, is information true or not true? I think we've seen DCI, they have a page where if someone gives a story and it's not true, they're able to write a red in bold. They put red and they say fake. And everyone is able to know that is not credible information. So if we could have such, where we have a team which monitors, and for the people who are malicious, okay, then you can be able to figure out and see the source. Because for everything, there is a digital footprint. You'll be able to see the source of that disinformation concerning civic education, and you can be able to nip it in the bud before it becomes viral. Because sometimes a lie told many times looks like the truth. And when you say the truth, people will assume the truth is the lie. Yes.
Much, and I wish you all the best.
Thank you.
Thank you. I invite Fatima to ask you some questions. Fatima, please.
Thank you, Chairman. Dr. Ndano.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm going to ask you this question because I've seen you're a quality assurance person, so I'm going to change my question. I was going to ask you, how would you evaluate how effective stakeholder engagement has been post-election? But before that, since you're a quality assurance person, how would you ensure that right from the beginning, during the planning process, the appropriate mechanisms for stakeholder engagement are put in place? Then in the process also, monitor to ensure that whatever was planned is being done. And then finally, how would you now evaluate post-election?
Thank you very much. So we're looking at stakeholder engagement, and I think I've gotten 3 questions. The first one is how to ensure appropriate mechanisms are put in place to make sure that it happens. Then the second one is to monitor how it's been done, and then how to do it post. Thank you very much. Like I earlier mentioned, with the IEBC being ISO certified, it means that we already have internal structures in place. By this, I would say that even for the issues like stakeholder engagement, my assumption would be that we have standard operating procedures of how stakeholder engagement should be done, and that those standard operating procedures have been validated by the department responsible for that particular activity. All right. I would also assume, and I hope I'm right in this, that the commission has policies that anchor stakeholder engagement. But those policies, again, are guided by the constitutional mandate that IEBC has. Okay. So that being said, would look at where are we coming from. If, for example, stakeholder involvement in the last election cycle was not done best, where were the challenges? Now, if you look at a standard operating procedure for an ISO certified organization, you realize that it has a clause on key performance indicators. It also has another clause on the retained documentation. Okay, so that is how we'd look at first. When you look at the main content of that SOP, the standard operating procedure, what are the steps that are enshrined in doing that? And have those steps been followed to the latter? Now, the problem we have many times is you realize what is on paper and what is on the ground are totally different. And that's why I brought in the issue of validation. And this is where you realize that they can be able to modify, because there's even a procedure of when you are changing a standard operating procedure, because you have to make sure that what is on paper and what is on the ground are the same. Okay, so I would ensure that yes, we are building from the lessons we've learned before, but also ensuring that our documentation and our processes, what we are doing on the ground, are the same. So that's the mechanisms of the sure, making sure that our standard operating procedure is on point, making sure that the policy anchoring that particular procedure is also on point. Okay, and enshrined in the Constitution. Now, in question 2, how do I monitor that has been done? One, you can monitor by observation. When stakeholder engagement activity is being done, we can have auditors come to the ground, look at how that activity is being done. Is it being done according to the procedures? If you're talking about a notice being issued, like 2 or 3 weeks earlier, has that been done? How is it? So there's that element of observation. The other way we can also ensure that it's being done is you audit the document trail. Okay, look at all the documents, because like I said, we have the retained documentation as part of the ISO processes. What is the retained documentation in terms of this activity of stakeholder involvement? Now, looking at the documentation, you have to ensure the documentation is well filled, because we've had instances where a form is brought, people fill, but they don't fill all the places that they're supposed to fill. So how the integrity of that particular documentation, the accuracy of that particular documentation, that is one way I would monitor how it's been done. I would also be conducting audits. Like I said, being an ISO certified institution, we have both internal audits and we also have external surveillance audits. So we'd make sure that this particular component is audited internally, and also when if we realize there are nonconformities, and then nonconformities would come whereby whatever we are doing does not align to our procedures or our policies, then those nonconformities can be corrected. And then also when we're doing the surveillance audit and we realize the surveillance audit will not be done by external people, okay, they can be able to also see whether we are conforming to our own procedures and also complying with the law. And then finally, when you're talking about the post-election now, post-election, this would also be a way of actually getting feedback, not just from our staff who've been able to conduct that activity, but also from the other stakeholders on whom the stakeholder engagement was done to. Okay, what is their feedback? Did they feel that the stakeholder engagement was fulfilling, or was it us just ticking a box and saying we've done it well? Okay, did they feel heard? Did they feel their concerns have been carried along, have been onboarded in the activities that we are doing as well? So you look at all those stakeholders, make sure we also get their feedback, so that when we are writing this report, we can be able to see what are our successes, where are our weaknesses, and how can we build forward in ensuring that there's continuous improvement in how we do stakeholder engagement. Thank you.
Thank you. As a quality assurance person, if an institution is ISO certified,
yes,
and I'm speaking from the ideal,
generally,
if an institution is ISO certified, would it suffer a board rupture? Would it suffer lack of public confidence? What do you have to say to this?
If an institution is ISO certified, yes, because it has happened before. Like I said earlier when I responded to his question, I said we can look at, especially from the IBC, we can look at it from the assets or from the processes. If we go to the assets, then you realize all of us in this room are assets. We are all information assets. Okay, yes. So being ISO certified, the integrity of the information that we possess by virtue of our position as commissioners becomes very critical, okay, in how we ensure that we are credible to the public as well. Do we ensure integrity as well? Okay, so from where I sit, yes, but that would be an unfortunate situation, like I said, because the ideal would be the nurturing of teamwork, the protection of the credibility and the integrity of the institution. Okay, so I'd look at it from that. Yes, but it's an unfortunate. From where I sit, it's an unfortunate situation, because at the end of the day, we should be guided by the Constitution, the rule of law, and the focus on public good.
Thank you very much. I wish you well.
Thank you.
Back to you, Chair.
Thank you. I want to invite Nicodemus to ask you some questions. Nicodemus, please.
Thank you very much. First of all, is to commend you on your eloquence and the command of good English.
Thank you.
Now, when laws like the Leadership and Integrity Act talk about promoting public confidence, from a leadership standpoint, how do you see that being earned, not just stated? If you get a chance to lead maybe the communication committee in IEBC.
Please come up again. I
I'm
got that.
saying,
Yes, yes,
you know, the laws on leadership and integrity,
yes,
they talk about promoting public confidence.
yes.
And in one of your discussions, you said that IBC lacks public trust, and that means also public confidence.
Correct, correct.
So from a leadership standpoint, how do you see that being earned, not just stated?
Thank you very much. Public trust and public confidence, how it can be earned, grounding it on the Leadership and Integrity Act. Good. First of all, I would look at ourselves as commissioners. We are leaders, so to speak. And how we carry ourselves matters very much. How we handle ourselves is very critical. How we conduct our business should be beyond reproach. All right. So I would look at the conduct of the people, of myself and also of my colleagues, as making sure that one, we uphold very high levels of integrity. All right. You cannot compromise when it comes to that, especially where you're serving the public. All right. In our dealings and even how we conduct our business, do we have professionalism in how we handle the things that we're supposed to be doing? Are we able to ensure that we carry ourselves in an ethical conduct? You know, as sometimes it's unfortunate where you see leaders behaving in a not so leadership way, especially on these platforms. Okay, so I'd look at it in terms of how do we handle ourselves as leaders? Are we people of impeccable character? Are we people having high moral standing? Are we people who are out to serve the public? Because that's where it all boils down. It's not about you as an individual, but it's the burden, or I would say the will to serve the Kenyan people. Okay, because even as a commission, you realize we are borrowing our mandate in trust from the public. So how we carry ourselves, are we honest enough? Are we professional enough? Are we impeccable enough? Are we transparent enough? Are we professional? And all that. Yes.
Thank you and all the best.
Thank you, sir.
I want to invite Professor Adam Solo to ask you some questions. Prof, please.
Thank you, Chair. At the risk of my fellow panelists, Bore, feeling that I'm imitating him, let me also congratulate you on your mastery and the fulfillment of what you have graduated in.
Thank you, sir.
But let's go back to business. Hypothetical. Sylvia Ndanu is a commissioner. Of course, you know that there are no commissioners.
So I am.
So you are there with other commissioners.
Yes.
And the first task that you have on your desk is to come up with a strategic vision on how to improve electoral preparedness towards 2027. What would be the starting step and broad picture of that vision?
Thank you very much. If I get you right, I'm coming up with a strategic vision on how to improve electoral preparedness for 2027. What is the broader vision, and what are my immediate steps? Okay, thank you very much. The broader vision, as enshrined in the Constitution, is to ensure free, fair, and credible elections. The same broad vision would be to ensure that when the voter goes to vote, then that voting process is secure, it is simple enough for them to understand, it's transparent, it's verifiable, and they're able and also verifiable as well. That being said, so that would be my vision, making sure that we deliver. I'd look at the IBC as a midwife. And because when you look at chapter 1 of the Constitution, the sovereign power belongs to the people. And the people exercise that power by delegating it through elections where they choose their designated democratically elected representatives. So IBC comes as a midwife in ensuring that the voter is able to do that, do the election, and also be able to elect their democratically elected representative. So for me, the broader vision would be ensuring that we deliver that election process for the voter in a way that is free, fair, and credible. That would be my biggest vision when it comes to 2027. Okay, are we delivering on the mandate that has been given to us? That being said, my first step would be, in terms of election preparedness, looking at the timelines that we have towards 2027. Where are we in terms of the pre-election phases, the most important things? I would assume, again, that the Secretariat already has a work plan. That's my assumption, that they already have a work plan moving forward. Okay, because it is that work plan that would inform procurement. It is that work plan that will even inform all the activities that will be done towards 2027. Having looked at that particular work plan, then figure out our priority areas. What is our priority area 1? If it's an issue of voter education, when, how, and can we be able to do it with the least amount of resources to use? Okay, then you look at the other issue that could, for example, be voter registration. Where are we on matters voter registration? Where have we been able to register voters? Where do we have, because you realize every time KCSE is done, we are releasing to the country people who are 18 years old, almost 900,000 of them. Okay, so if you look at since the last election, how many have we? So you realize there is already a bigger catchment of people who are eligible to vote, that we need to make sure that we've gotten all of them registered in there, being able to do it in the shortest time possible, and also making sure that we are very inclusive. Time should not be a reason why we cannot be inclusive enough. All right. So in my opinion, other than looking at the work plan, number 1 would be rolling out the voter education. Some of these, I say, they are low-hanging fruits. There are things where you can be able to do without investing a lot of resources in them, especially matters of voter education. If we choose having our official pages, I'm assuming at IBC, again, there's a corporate communication department. Some of these things can be channeled through that department. And then again, the other issue is...
Seconds. I have already seen the one.
Yes, and then,
You can
of
just
course,
summarize it.
the issue of, voter registration. For me, those would be the issue of boundary delimitations. I'm sure we are still waiting for the Supreme Court to pronounce itself. So that one would still wait to hear what the court will decide. But that would be my first 3 steps.
Very well. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. Do you have our final 2 questions?
Yes, Sylvia. We usually finish through the chair with high school questions. We start with your area of expertise. Which is the television network that broke the monopoly of KBC, and which year was it?
It was KTN, Kenya Television Network.
Which year? 30 seconds. Okay, I ask you the second question. which is now not in communication, but instead is in culture. Which two African countries are known for their traditional beadwork? In other words, when you go to different countries, that beadwork is like a souvenir that
This King Musati's country.
I want the country.
King Musati's country. They have intricate beadwork.
The second one. But I would need the country, but go ahead. The second one.
There's King Musati's country, and then the second one I would Ghana.
Which is the most obvious one that you should even think of before you go elsewhere?
Kenya.
Which community?
The Mas. Is it Maasai?
Thank you, Chair.
Okay, the Maasai and Kamba.
Oh, okay. But I got the Maasai. Thank you.
Thank you. You escaped. I thought I would ask the children to ask you some 2 questions, but they left.
That would have been lovely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they left. Do you have any comment or question?
Thank you very much. I first want to really appreciate, once again, making time to hear me out. Coming this way feels like, playing in the Super League. Based on where I'm coming from. So I really want to appreciate the chance, the opportunity that I've gotten, to be here, and also you listening to me. I really, really appreciate, and the interview was amazing. Thank you so much. But that being said, in my 40 years of existence, I've just started life. That's what we say. When you are 40, you've just started life. Yes. My prayer would be, if I'm made part of the team, and even the team that is coming in as commissioners, let us uphold the will of the people. Like I'd said initially, when you look at the chapter 1 of the Constitution, where the sovereign power belongs to the people, the IEBC is a trustee to the principal, with the principal being the voter in this particular case. So as we move forward, and even the team that is coming on board, my prayer would be that we uphold that position of public trust, and we deliver to the Kenyan person free, fair, and credible elections. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. Which team do you follow in the Super League or in the Premier League?
I'm a Manchester United fan.
Okay, fine. I thought maybe Arsenal, so I was going to pity you, but okay. Thank you very much. We appreciated our time together.
Thank you.
Yeah, we wish you well. And,
thank you.
Ukisafiri kurudi Mombasa, safiri salama.
Asante sana.
Yeah, daftari na kalamu ni zako.
Asante sana.
Asante.
Thank you very much, and may God bless you all.
Thank you very much.
Asante, asante.
Thank you. Members of the gallery, we also thank you for coming. Thanks.
Asante.
Asante. Okay, members of the media, thank you very much. We'll be back at Yeah, just say 2:45, so that is 1 hour and 15 minutes. She will need some time to pray and have lunch. Yeah. So thank you very much. We will see you at that time.